Welcome to my first YouTube video ever. This is a history lesson for me to share. This is my last bike that I bought was in 1978, 62 Panhead, paid $1,800 for it. I was 20 years old. It took me 2 years to build it. You'll see that in the pictures. That's me in 1980. I was 22 years old then. Now, of course, I'm 60, and these are just pictures out of my photo album of the last bike I built in my little 10x10 shop that I put together in 1978. And you'll see the bike progressing here. I do everything myself, all the mechanical, electrical, painting, all the detail work, the buffing, every part, respoking the wheels. And you know, when I bought it for $1,900, of course it wasn't running, needed major work, and it was built like a chopper. So I wanted dual glide. There's me with all the House of Color stuff I bought with the spray gun. Everything was $400. What was that, 38 years ago? Did the body work, bought the fenders, and of course back then, boy, it was hard to get parts. You had to drive hundreds of miles to buy things, not like nowadays with the internet and buying stuff from people. But there's me spraying down the epoxy primer, House of Color. Then I did a gold base and get it ready for the red candy apple. Everything just came out perfect. Not bad for a rookie, and I was really nervous though, but it came out perfect. You'll see in the pictures. Took even the Speedo apart so I could paint the dial faceplate. It just came out great. And put the bike all together. It took me 33 months. So a little, I just say 2 years to finish the dual glide. Bought it in 78, finished it in 1980, and I sold it in 1982. And that was the last motorcycle I had. 38 years passed, and till I bought my next motorcycle. And that was the big plan, and that's why I put this video together. I just wanted to show what I've accomplished with these motorcycles. So in 2017, I talked to my wife and said I'd like to do one last motorcycle. So that's what we did. I bought a 1937 UL. Never seen one other than in magazines. So I fell in love with it. You'll see that coming up. But anyways, here's me back 38 years ago. I sold the bike in 1982. I bought it for $1,900 and I sold it in 1982 for $6,500. And that really is all the money I put into it. And that's what happened. So here you'll see me buying the 1937 Harley off of a really nice gentleman. It sat in his garage for many years because it had some major health problems. I couldn't do any kind of riding anymore or heavy lifting at all. Broke his heart when I bought it though. There I am loading her up after I made the purchase. Thanks to my brother-in-law lending me the trailer. Got the broken wrist, but I still got a big smile on my face. Brought her back home. My two sons unloaded it for me. And there I am pretending that it's ready to go. Needs a rebuild, but most of the parts are all there. And very happy with it. Had to store it in my 10x10 shed for many months until my arm healed up 3 casts later, and now I'm ready to tear her apart. Started in the late fall of 2017. So you'll see me now starting to take it apart, and that's the pictures going forward. Actually, you'll see too, the first thing I wanted to work on was the carburetor, as it sat for many years, so I knew the carburetor would be needing a rebuild, of course, but everything on the bike needed to be rebuilt. And working on it, had to replace the clutch, and the hub was all damaged and worn out. You'll see that later on though. This is just a teardown time, me learning about the bike. You know, I've got to really thank the other people on YouTube that put some information about the old bikes on YouTube. That helped me a lot. Especially, I give big thanks to Todd on hunting Harleys. I watched all his videos to learn about the old stuff, and a few other people too. I was really happy about learning about all the original parts on the bike, the frame, the gas tanks, the oil tank, springer, handlebars. You know, it was just great, all the original stuff. Even how the bike was had the routing of the control cables and stuff on the 37. It was great. Of course, I took pictures as I took it all apart. I was so happy with the old school exhaust, not a dent or any damage at all to it. So it was great. Just needed to be sandblasted. You'll see that later on in the video. Not this video, but the ones where, because I've got 4 slide videos, and then I've got 3 videos of the bike running and me driving it. See that little line there on that back fender? That was had to be cut out. You'll see that later too, where I had to repair that. But it was great. I was surprised how loose everything was. Most of all the fasteners on the back bike were hand tight. A lot of care. Whoever had this bike put it together used a lot of the original fasteners and stuff, so I was really happy with it. No repair at all to the frame, all original, no damage whatsoever. No repairs, just perfect. Just really pleased with everything. Getting her down, getting that engine out. Had to build an engine stand for it again. I shouldn't have thrown mine out 38 years ago. I threw my one out that I made for the Panhead. So I welded one up together with Angular, and you'll see that shortly. But yeah. Now, the cylinder heads aren't at 37. They're aluminum ones. There I am, welding up the stand. Getting pretty cold. You see me, you know, I'm working in an unheated shop. And wearing the right clothes for it. But when you're working, you stay warm. I was surprised how heavy that engine was. Getting old. But it sure felt like it's over 100 pounds, that's for sure, when I lifted it up, put it on the bench. So I'm pretty happy, got her all stripped down. There's me posing with it. So that was last year in 2017. Still hasn't turned 60 yet. Took pictures of all different parts of the bike, documentation as it were. Make sure I knew how to put this thing back together. And there's the matching crankcase numbers, then the frame. You'll see that when I stripped the frame down and did all the work on it. You'll see all the hallmark marking and casting numbers. It's just beautiful. There, getting the frame down to just its bare self. Eating gas tank, gas caps. One was missing a gasket. I had an old gasket that I just put in there for the picture. And no damage to those at all. Nice made in USA light floorboards. Got the nice floorboards. First thing I rebuilt was the carburetor. Gave me something to do for the winter months in the shop. And they haven't changed in 38 years. Still remember the Panhead. But you'll see me rebuild it here. It was all complete. Just the carburetor was just filled with crud. Unbelievable. But nothing was damaged. But I just cleaned everything up and new gaskets. I had to solder the float that had a hole in it and put her back together. If you look close, you'll notice the parts there. But please watch my second, third, and fourth video coming up. Appreciate this and look forward to you on the next video. Thanks.